This keyboard right in front of me is the MPC Key 37. And for the last couple of months, I've been making all my beats on it and absolutely loving it. But recently, MPC just dropped the Live 3. And I can't lie, I was having a little bit of FOMO. I was even thinking about shelving the 37 for a bit and copying an MPC Live 3 and using that to make beats. However, after looking into it more and even trying out a Live 3 for myself, I decided that the MPC Key 37 would be the MPC I'm using going into 2026. And most likely throughout all of 2026. There has been a lot of talk about the Live 3. There's a lot of hype, but today I want to make the case that the 37 is the best MPC out right now, and the best truly standalone device out on the market right now. Let's get into it. First off, I want to start by saying that I think the 37 is truly the first all-in-one portable standalone MPC. Let me explain that. So let's start with its standalone ability. If you have a Live 2 or Live 3 or X, if you want to play keys on it and not just use the pads, you're going to have to plug in a MIDI controller to it. This is a big drawback for me, and I believe a lot of other producers. Just using pads limits you a lot creatively if you're not just using samples. If you want to add any MIDI notes or play any sort of keys, the Live 3 and X will hold you back a lot, unless you have a MIDI keyboard that you can bring around everywhere. And especially a keyboard with 37 keys is going to be pretty annoying to hook up if you're constantly taking down your setup. So I would argue that the 37 is much more of an all-in-one standalone device, seeing that you don't need to hook up a keyboard to it. And I know people will argue, well, the 37 doesn't have a built-in battery and a built-in speaker. But personally, I would much rather have to carry around a pair of headphones and a power cable than a full-on MIDI controller with my Live 3. I think that the 37 is honestly the closest thing to an all-in-one music production suite, with the keys and the pads all in one, along with the amazing 3.0 MPC software. It makes for such an amazing standalone experience. When I'm making music, I love to not have to set things up. I love just a plug-and-play device. And this MPC, I believe, comes the closest to a truly all-in-one plug-and-play device. Now, it's also portable, because I know someone's going to mention the Key 61. But the problem with the Key 61 is, first of all, I would say it's not very portable. Second, it doesn't come with an SD card slot. And third, do you really need all 61 keys? I believe the Key 37 is truly the standalone device that is closest to a DAW. Now, I know someone just got upset with me for saying that, so let me clarify. Yes, there are going to be limitations on the 37. Yes, you are not going to be able to do everything a DAW can do inside this device here. But I would argue it's the closest thing to a DAW on the market that is truly a standalone device. No, you're not going to be able to have every single VST in standalone mode on this thing. But with the Native Instruments expansion packs now, you're going to be able to have some amazing sounds that are inside complete. And with the keys on this thing, that's where those sounds really shine. Another thing, it's super easy to add samples to this thing with the SD slot in the back. It's super easy to put samples down. Along with the splice integration on this thing, so you can retrieve samples from there. You can put samples down on the pads, chop them up. You can also put down your keys on the keyboard here. You got a great song structure on the MPC 3.0 software, and how easy it is to retrieve samples on this thing. It truly is an all-in-one great standalone device. But its standalone capabilities aren't the only thing I love about the 37. I love the fact too that it works great in a hybrid workflow. It's easy to turn this thing from a standalone machine to a MIDI keyboard. You can easily export projects, easily turn your projects into Ableton files, which is amazing. So if you use a DAW and like a more hybrid setup, it's super easy to use the 37. Because you can make a beat fully on this thing in standalone, export it as an Ableton project and resume from there. Or you can set this thing up in standalone mode, export files, put it in your project, and then switch it to MIDI mode and continue your project from there. As far as trying to create a hybrid standalone DAW, I would say the MPC Key 37 is truly undefeated. It comes with a USB port so you can easily plug it into your computer. However, having the option to portably move this thing around and use it in standalone mode was such a huge feature for me. Which brings me to my next point, which is that I think the 37 is the absolute best standalone device for a beginner learning standalone. My first experience using a Groovebox was the Machine MK3. Now that is not a standalone device. However, you can learn the basics on it because you never need to use your computer directly with it. You can use all the functions of the MK3. And while you do need to hook it up to a computer, you never need to touch your mouse if you don't want to. And then with the Machine Plus, it's the exact same thing except it runs on its own. You don't need a computer. So someone might say it's easier to learn a Groovebox format on something like that, where you have the option of hooking it up to your computer. However, you can do everything on the Groovebox. But I would actually disagree. I think it's best to start with the full-on standalone device. The reason being is that sometimes I'd find myself relying on the computer too much. If I didn't know how to do something directly on my Groovebox, I would rely on this mouse here. Instead of looking up tutorials or thinking my way through it or just trying out every feature and learning every bit of the Groovebox, I kind of got lazy. And with the MPC 37, it kind of eliminates that because this thing is meant to be used in standalone mode. And now, yes, you can use it with your computer and you can use it with the DAWs and you can use it as a MIDI keyboard. However, this thing shines as a standalone device. And personally, I think the MPC software in standalone mode is more intuitive than the Machine Plus software. And for beginners, you have your keys, so it's like your MIDI controller, except you also have your pads and your sampler mode. So all your bases are covered. And once again, the MPC song mode structure is so great at laying out full beats. It looks just like a DAW, and it's so much more user intuitive than Machines Plus scenes and patterns. If you're coming directly from a DAW, this thing is the easiest transition for you. If you're someone who has like a ton of outboard gear and you use hardware synths mostly, this might not be the MPC for you. But for someone like me who likes everything all in one, plug and play type of producer, this is my favorite MPC. At the end of the day, whatever you make music with is what's best for you. But I just thought I'd give my thoughts and opinions and a rundown of why I love this thing so much. If you made it this far into the video, please subscribe to the channel and please like this video. It really does help me out a lot. Thank you guys so much again for watching and see you next vid.